Hey guys, Callaway has just launched the new Apex iron for 2024. We got Johnny Wunder here from Callaway to help us do a little bit of testing. Johnny, so thanks for making the trip.
My pleasure.
But to help us take a little bit of a stroll down memory lane, we're going to do a little bit of a testing all the way back with the Apex from 2014. So, Johnny, we're going to have you hit a couple shots. We'll take a look at some data at the end, but tell us what you know about that guy.
So this was a popular iron on tour. Actually stayed in the bag of Kevin Kistner, who's no longer with us, but for a long time it was hard to get this iron out of his bag. He loved the sole. Center of gravity is a little bit more heel side. He's a drawer of the ball, and the high toe. It's got kind of a pinch toe, so typically players that like to hit it right to left like a higher toe because it looks upright. That's why it did so well. I mean, it's just got a really good sole, got through the turf really well, and it's a Callaway iron, so it feels good. And,
awesome. Well, yeah. let's have you hit just 2-3 balls with it, and let's see what you guys have figured out over the last 10 years when it comes to Apex.
All right. No, my golf swing's kind of a dumpster fire. We're gonna do our best here.
All right. Can't be throwing out excuses until you at least hit a shot.
A little skinny.
It's all good.
Ooh, I went out left.
And we were talking just a little bit off camera as you get those other ones in. You'd mentioned a lot of really the design features of the new 24 line. You've been taken from all generations of the past.
Yes.
But because of some of the early success you guys had with the 14, especially some of the sole designs and the aesthetics, just visually to me look very similar.
Yeah, they do. This one's got a little bit, I would say at appearance, a little bit more offset.
Okay.
But essentially, they kind of live in the same bucket.
Nice. Let's get one more with that.
Did it pick it up?
And then we're going to move on to 2024, and we'll take a look at some of the numbers when it's all said and done.
I love the launch at 22.
Hey, nice high. You're not having any problem stopping that thing on the green with that last shot.
All right, let's see if I can actually get some face on one. Even the thin ones, I got to say, this one actually feels pretty good even on thin shots. So that was out of the middle. A little pulley, but
nice. Well, let's move on then. Let's go into now the Apex Pro from 2024.
Okay.
And tell me a little bit about that guy in general, and maybe what a player can expect with that particular model.
Yeah, so obviously technology has changed quite a bit in iron technology. So this one is a hollow body construction. It's got urethane microspheres for sound and feel. Loft package is pretty dang close to the Apex Pro from 2014. Appearance-wise, this has a slightly larger footprint.
Okay.
But still 1025 forged face, so it's going to have all the spin and the feel of a normal player's cavity back, with maybe just a little bit more help. So.
Sounded pretty solid. Yeah, when you say a bigger footprint of the Apex line, it'll be a little bit bigger footprint, at least for myself when I put it down. Still overall pretty compact.
Got a player shape, right? Yeah. And that was actually a good one. That was a little skinny, a little toey, but still kept it in front of me. And I would say versus the other two irons in the line, those shots you'll have a little bit more of a chance with. The ones that you kind of don't catch.
Yeah, and with 10 years of technology and R&D. I'm going to assume probably in most cases a little better performance than the 14s.
Yep.
14 was awesome, but that was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago.
Let's get one more, and then we'll throw one more in the mix.
I got to say, I'm kind of happy. Usually I hit just this big sweepy draw. I kind of liked the ball starting left. I don't know how I rolled out of bed this morning, but I'm kind of happy.
I said, we've got some new sticks in the bag,
yeah,
right?
I'm like, okay. So it could...
Sounded pretty nice as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's throw one more in the mix. And the reason we're really testing this one is, as we kind of talked off camera, you'd mentioned that honestly the 14 was actually a better comparison to the CB model.
It is.
Why would you say that?
Well, because Apex Pro in 2014, that was our player's cavity back. So even if you go back to the Apex Pro, the one that inspired the TCB, that was a player's cavity back. It was a tour iron. So, Apex Pro now, they've kind of rebranded Apex Pro. They started with that in 2021. So the line, that the Apex Pro moniker has changed a little bit.
Gotcha. So a little more maybe apples to apples comparison then is
it's the
kind of what I'm
CB,
hearing.
right?
Sounded nice, and definitely just even visually comparing, we'll say look at the actual numbers, but
Yeah.
visual comparison definitely looks like the CB's maybe just a little bit higher. And again, as we talked before, very similar lofts, but the Pro is like 1, maybe 2 degrees stronger at most.
Yeah, it's 33 versus 34,
Okay.
and like that strike was similar to the one I said I missed it with the Pro, and I got not a lot more out of it with the Pro, but a little bit, enough to matter anyway.
Yep, just a little bit more forgiveness.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing you need to take into account too whenever you are getting fit for irons. It's not just the left and right dispersion that matters. Whenever we're hitting into a green or to a pin, that front to back is important as well. So forgiveness from a lack of loss of distance, that's super important where, it's maybe something that's overlooked if you're just an average golfer and not going through a fitting.
Right. That was a little chunky, but...
Maybe going to throw in the mix then. All pretty straight though.
Yep.
Let's take a look at some actual numbers then. And so we're going to actually go through a formal fitting, have you hit all these coming up here. But aesthetically, I'm just curious to get your take. Which one of these, if you had to put it in your bag, not knowing the numbers of the 24 line, which one is your favorite?
I kind of really like the look of the Pro.
Okay.
I'm a TCB player now.
Mm-hmm.
I like that there's a little bit of offset, but this just looks to me like a little bit slightly larger TCB.
Okay.
So, for me, at this point in my life, I'm not opposed to help if I can find it anywhere, but I still feel like I can hit all the shots with those.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm giving up responsiveness or versatility for forgiveness. Like, I feel like that's still a player's iron.
Yep.
I could look at that all day.
A little bit of technology is your friend.
Yep.
All right, let's see if we can take a look at some of these numbers over here. So we went 2014 Pro, 2024 Pro, and then we threw the CB in there at the end. And 3 shots, we didn't throw anything else, so we're using all our data. All right, Johnny, so let's do a quick comparison then between the 3. So we didn't throw out any shots, just kept them all. Started off with our Apex Pro from back in 14. And really what we're seeing is just overall some higher ball flight. Your distance is honestly pretty good. You're hitting them all about the same, right around a 150, 154 carry, 153. And I think that's really just a testimony to what we talked about before as well, of how easy the CB Pro and MB can combo them.
Right.
You're not going to see all these huge distance changes. So that's awesome. What we're seeing as far as ball flight differences is really just the older 14, just hitting that one significantly higher. For your speed, honestly, a little bit too high. I mean, you have a descent angle coming in of about 50 degrees.
Right.
So good news is you're not having any problem stopping on the green,
No.
but there probably is some distance you might be giving up.
Might be a little tricky to the wind.
Yeah, exactly. Get a little bit of a breeze, might be a little harder to control, or you could lose some distance that way. We take a look at our second one with the CB. Again, distance almost identical. We do just see a slightly lower launch, which again, for what you were needed, and again, not a formal fitting, we're just hitting these things. But we do see just a slightly lower launch, which is again, awesome for you. Descent angles at 46, 45 is kind of like our magic number, so you're perfect there. And then coming down to our CB, and the very last one, we did have that one you faded out there, got a little bit higher. But the cool takeaway I see is, again, a little higher launch, like ball speeds, like identical across the board, distance almost identical. So I think that's where a lot of golfers, like I said, are going to benefit with these guys is you can do the more forgiving pros in the 4, 5, 6 iron. You can throw your CBs and your 7 iron down.
Right.
Even you want to get crazy and throw an MB in the 9 or pitching wedge, you can do that. And it's just going to be so much easier to do it than in years past where you had to mess around with lofts and try to make these things work. You can pretty much just roll these things out of the box and I think you'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, and there's a significant feel difference between the old one and the new one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like if people really want to know, like, hey, what's the real difference? Honestly, the user experience is way different. I mean, these things sound and feel.
Yeah, and though that might not come across in the video, that's one thing I picked up is just the acoustics of the difference in the 14 versus the 24 is significantly different.
And I didn't hit any of the ones in the CB out of the middle at all, and I hit a couple close enough to the middle with these, and these still chunky sound better than these do. Yeah.
That's hey, 10 years of tech right there, right? So guys, again, the Apex line for 2024, it's going to be in center now. Definitely find your local GOLFTEC, check them out, go through a fitting, see which model is right for you. Again, it might be a good fit for a combo set, which is easier than ever with the new Apex line. So Johnny, appreciate you again making the trip out.
Man. Yeah, absolutely.